Hello, my name is Elias Munsha. Thank you for joining me today. I'm coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, here at Munsha Law, which is our law firm here. So this is 12:30. It's lunchtime, and so why not have some discussion, right? So I'm going to let you share this with as many people as possible. We've got as usual, we've got a very lively agenda today, as usual, right? Because we always have very lively agendas these days. I don't know why. So we have a very lively agenda. If you have any question, please kindly just type it in, and I'm going to see it here. Facebook is now back, and so I am able to do quite a lot now with my page, which is pretty amazing, and I like it. Okay. Yeah, so please do that. Jeff is saying hello. Katana is saying hello. Yeah, hello everybody. Okay. We have the cyber crimes bill. Okay, here is the bill. Again, the question that I get asked very often is, what is the problem with the cyber crimes bill? Okay, today apparently we understand that a member of the Zambia Air Force had walked from Lusaka to Livingston to fight cyberbullying. But since cyberbullying is also coinciding with the proposal by the PF government to pass the cybersecurity and cyber crimes bill, I think her work is being misinterpreted as if a member of the security forces, which are actually neutral as far as politics are concerned, is actually playing politics. Okay, but anyway. What are the issues with the cybersecurity bill? I did highlight some of the issues the last time, but I just want to talk about them again. The problem with this bill is what it is proposing to do. So basically, the PF government has decided to split a bill which is currently law in Zambia. So the current law in Zambia as far as cyber crimes are concerned is known as the Electronic Communications and Transactions Act. So this is current law, but the PF cabinet has decided to split it into two. And when they split it into two, they are going to create two acts out of it, or two bills currently. One bill is known as the Electronic Communications and Transactions Act 2020, and the Cybersecurity and Cyber Crimes Bill 2021. So basically, this act, this new bill that they have, Bill number 2 of 2021, is very similar with the current law, except on just a few very important matters. Very important matters. For example, according to this bill, it criminalizes causing emotional harm, emotional distress. That is how the bill puts it. So if you say something online that causes emotional distress onto another person, you are liable to 5 years imprisonment. Okay. How will emotional distress be determined? That is where the problem is. And so, which means magistrate courts or even the high courts will have to deal with the issues of emotional distress. I think it's too broad and too vague, and therefore very open to abuse. So what we might see is that the ruling party might use this law to try and stifle opposition. According to Linda Kasonde, she says that what this bill will do is it's going to affect the shrinking civic space in Zambia. And so because of the shrinking civic space, she feels like it's going to affect the already shrinking civic space in Zambia. And so that is the problem. How do you determine emotional distress? That is a very, very huge concern. The other thing is this bill creates several other bodies. Okay, it creates several other bodies which look like in their functions they are quite duplicative. They duplicate functions of the other bodies. The first one is that ZICTA. So ZICTA is the principal body that regulates telecommunications and internet in Zambia. However, Zicta is also going to create another body that they are calling the Zambia Computer Incident Response Team. This is where the issue is. What will this team be doing? Who will be giving this team instructions? That's important. And what are the functions that are going to be designated to this response team? And so the likelihood that this particular team is going to be abused is very high. And that's the concern that the people of Zambia have as far as this bill is concerned. And then there is another body that this bill creates. It's known as the National Cybersecurity Advisory and Coordinating Council. And guess who appoints? It's the Minister of Communications. So already in a field that is so crowded, you see the emergence of several other agencies and councils that are very difficult to explain. That is one of the problems as far as the cybersecurity and cyber crimes bill is concerned. And of course, it has cyber inspectors. The cyber inspector thing is very similar to the current law. So current law allows for cyber inspectors, and then they have to, they can approach an establishment and then do their own cybersecurity inspections. Okay, so these are some of the concerns that that we have as far as the cybersecurity bill is concerned. So I did mention about emotional distress, but also if you share, for example, a meme that is not true, because memes are not really meant to be true. They're saying that you'll be liable to imprisonment. You'll be liable to 5 years imprisonment if what you have shared is inaccurate or not true, right? You'll be liable to imprisonment. That's a little bit quite stiff. Okay, so that in brief is the cybersecurity bill. Unless somebody has a question or an issue, we can come back to this later. But that is the cybersecurity bill. We understand now that the Patriotic Front cadres are extremely rich. They are showcasing a lot of money, a lot of cash. Now, when we say a lot of money, we are not just talking about the fact that they have money in the bank accounts, but rather that they have cash in their bedrooms, in their vehicles, everywhere. They have so much cash. And what is being asked is, where is this cash coming from? You see, the issue with cash, particularly in an economy like Zambia, is it's important to trace it. Where is the cash coming from, right? Because in order for you to have such huge stacks and words of cash, there must be a source. So where is it coming from? Is it coming from a bank account where somebody withdraws it and gives it to cadres? Is it being printed somewhere? There is a factory somewhere that is printing this money and giving it to cadres. Where is it coming from? And the concern regarding cash is that not only is it illegal in some cases to have huge amounts of cash, it also brings in the question of money laundering, right? Because usually most of the people who are criminals, they deal with huge amounts of cash. That is just what happens. So everybody, people that are concerned, are asking, what is happening here? Why should Patriotic Front cadres be moving around with so much money? In Milenge, we raised the same questions at one point. Last year, Milenge elected a new district council chairperson. All right. That gentleman, within 2 months, he distributed in cash thousands and thousands of kwacha. So he would go to this meeting, give them cash. He would go to that meeting, give them cash. He would do a lot of things with cash. And we asked the question, where have you gotten all this money? Where is it coming from, right? And of course, the donations were being done in the name of the president. This is what the gentleman would say. He would say, no, I've just been sent by the president to bring you this cash. The president. A council chairperson saying that the president has sent him with cash, with wads of cash, to go and give people in Milenge. We asked that question, right? And so there are several other people that are claiming that the president has sent them with cash. Bowman Lusambo, the Honorable Minister of Lusaka, has also been seen going to various establishments giving people cash. And what is he saying when he's giving out this cash? The president has sent me, right? Another one, the Presidential Empowerment Fund commandeered a Zambia Air Force plane from Lusaka and it took wads of cash to Mongo. Again, it was cash, cash. So the question is, where is this cash coming from? It's coming from the president, who is making this money. What is the source of this money, right? So now we understand that the Patriotic Front has banned the distribution of cash. They've seen that we are on them, and so they have banned. They're saying that you're not supposed to deal with cash anymore. We hope that they're going to live up to that promise, and they're not going to be distributing cash as they have been doing in the past, okay? If somebody wants to give politicians or anybody money, they can write a check so that you can see, all right? So that you can see how the cash is moving, from whom to who to where, okay? This thing of money just suddenly appearing in people's hands, you know, there is no magic that can bring money suddenly in your hands, okay? No matter which profiter you see, there is nothing like that. Money has a source, clear, traceable source, okay? If money has no source, then there is an assumption, there is a presumption that it must be a proceed of crime. That is what happens, okay? So all these that we keep seeing, our concern remains the same. Something must be done. This criminality must be stopped, okay? If the president is donating, he shouldn't be donating in cash. He should be donating through a check. Bafuire balemba cheki. Ero pale pa check pale balemba po check na signature babika po. Ero nomba bapero omuntu ati yo nago pere mpia. Not weka teka. Niwe bole tuwala. Ule fokotola pofye. You know, pali cash. Ule uyaisa wafokotola wapera. It means then that not only are you you lack monetary discipline, first of all, but secondly, it also sends a message. It's a very wrong message to an economy. Okay, but there is this economy where money is supposed to be kept in a bank. Money is supposed to be kept by the Bank of Zambia. Cash is supposed to be kept there. But there is this other body somewhere at State House where bali kwata bank, State House Bank. Umuba fokotola ulupia. Ero bale chitashani bai foresha bai kaika. That is dangerous. So those are the concerns that we have. And so the Patriotic Front needs to act very quickly and stop these cash distributions. If they want to distribute money, let them use banks, okay? So that we lessen the temptation of money laundering, which is what is happening. All right. Now we understand that one of the other trending stories is the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs has a side business. Very important. That's what he's saying. Atibali kuata side business. Elo, it is that side business that has made him to buy a helicopter from South Africa at about $1 million. Thereabout, plus or minus $1 million helicopter. It landed, and he says that it is because he's a businessman. He's a businessman. So because he's a businessman, it enabled him to purchase a helicopter at $1 million. Everybody knows why that helicopter has been purchased. It's for campaigns, okay? Apparently, there is an election in August this year. And so a helicopter is a very coveted commodity. And so the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs says that he has a company, and it is through that company where they've bought this huge investment so that they can use it as a business. We ask the same questions. How come businesses are struggling in Zambia, right? How come only the businesses of these politicians are the ones doing very well, such that they can even have a $1 million to spare to buy a helicopter in an election year, right? So you see, it's not one thing. If it is just one thing, you can give the PF party and its cadres a benefit of doubt. But this is not an isolated incident. It is a series of behaviors, you know. You know, so it's a series of behaviors. This puzzle, it's every day there is always a money scandal, money question somewhere. It begins clouding your mind. There should really be something wrong here. How come these gentlemen are swimming in money? They are distributing cash, and then they are making very heavy investments in their own businesses. What is going on? These are genuine questions that the Zambians are asking, and they have answers. It is because the Patriotic Front cabinet, they are stealing, and they have stolen a lot of money from the government through either shoddy contracts, funny contracts, illegal contracts, or just outright stealing. All right. So here is a challenge we are going to give. When Zambians started telling the president and the Patriotic Front that there was theft at the Ministry of Health, you know what happened? They said no. No, to Ministry of Health. 5 years later, no, we now are going to deal with this issue. 5 years later. In the meantime, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 years, they were ignoring the people that were raising an alarm. After they have stolen enough, now they say that they were acting. The same thing is what is happening with the rest of the government officials. Unexplained wealth, in other words, like Bowman Lusambo. Where does Bowman Lusambo get the money that he distributes, right? Simple. He says that he does business. What business? Simple. This does not require extremely complicated education. It just requires simple common sense from Chiwempala. Chapwa, amano, aya kuchiwempala. Yeka fye. Kutu wamo no ati tapali umuntu ngesa fiasa kwevati na kwati sholu pia ni minister. Ati mwafunia ku isolu pia tinafunia ku business. Wemwaume, nga ni business shi iyochita. Ama businesses abene. I'm a businessman. You don't see them flashing any money around because business is tough. It calls for a lot of very wonderful calculations. Which money goes to ZRA for taxes? Which money goes to workers? Which money goes to buying goods? Which money goes to buy and replenish your store? All that. And then he is a gentleman who flashes around 100,000 kwacha and says that it is from his business. Which business? For a person to flash around 100,000 kwacha, it means then that if they're running a business, it means then that they've either made about 2 or 3 million, and then they can afford to have 100,000 to flash around. So we ask again, which businesses are these gentlemen engaging in? It's the business of corruption and theft. That's it. Right? That's what it is. And that is exactly what happens when political leaders are richer than the treasury of the country. This is how you see it. You see in the lavish display of a lot of money, pomp, and prosperity. And because they have not worked hard for that money, they want zimya neighbor. They are the ones that are happening. But they are actually thieves. They are stealing from the poor of Zambia. That is the concern. So will Malanji explain to us how he has managed to buy that helicopter? No, he won't. Right? Is he going to explain to us what is going on? Where did he get the money from? to buy the helicopter from his business. Which business? What does that business deal with? And some say, these people were businessmen previously before they joined politics. That is not true. They were businesses. Yes, they had businesses, but it's not businesses that would give them millions of dollars to flash around. No. So how come they've suddenly become so wealthy, right? How did Taluchilufya become so wealthy? How did Malanji become so wealthy? How did all these guys become so wealthy? Chuma cha chalo, chuma cha bantu. Ero nomba barebo mfia no kwamba kuchita distribute nomba ku bantu ati they are the ones that are happening. Business is tough. That's what everybody is saying. At you, we are in business. At we are in business. Which business? All right. Now this then brings me to the to this topic. Okay. The topic of control of prices. Control of prices. Both Mr. Hichilema and Mr. Lungu, the two main political leaders in our country, one ruling, one opposition. And in fact, there is consensus among the people of Zambia that the Zambian economy has gone down. Okay? President Lungu himself has made it's not teine. Muimbe peshati ni ne teine. Abalela ndoko bati fintu na fiona ika economy na yona ika teine yo ni balungu. Balungu ebalandire teine. Hain muimbe pesha. Ati yo munjori wa mulomo ni wo lela ndoko bati economy taiweme. Yo teine yo ni balungu ebalandire ebasosele. Okwebate economy nayo naika na filubana. Teine. Okay. Number, in a country about economy nayo naika na filubana, why is his party and his supporters have so much money? One, bafumisha quiz. The second thing is, Walungu, the only difference is who to blame. Okay? Mungu fuisha bueno. According to President Lungu, the people that are causing economic problems, according to him, is businessmen. They are the ones that are sabotaging the economy or the country. Economic sabotage. French, sabotage, economic sabotage. So they are the ones that are sabotaging the economy. That's what the president is saying. But you do not need to look any further to see that the person responsible for the economic confusion in Zambia is the president himself. He's not looking at his actions, ever so zealous to point at others. Just like I call it every time, this is a government of teine. There are issues in the economy. What does the president say? Government of Bambe Peshafi, President Bambe Pesha. No, it's others. They are the ones that are causing my economy to collapse. That is not true. This economy is collapsing due to direct actions of the president. They have no clue. They don't know what they are doing. Now we understand that from the 7th National Development Plan, they are intending to launch another plan, making it sound as if the more they write these speeches, the more the economy is going to get better. No. Balungu bafirwa okuteka ekyalo. Nombapo bafirwa okuteka ekyalo batampa shani batampa okusabayira. No kubepesha ifintu fimbifi yikalire atefi yalenga. Ebwafya. Bambo okusonta. Kanshita bale sonta po babombere iyo. Pantu kwena po babombere tapari na pabomba. Ero nomba batampa shani batampa okusonta. Okweba tulengere. Okweba abena Zambia batampi okulala ensala ni udia. Nomba kuteka kwa msango shani uko. Pantu umwine tare iroresha bwino ko batare teka shani. kaloba abene pakanwa kabo ilyo abantu baile beba balungu kwe bati ikaloba mule kongola ikona ule chalo balungu balandiresha ati nkakonkani apo kukongola na akula kongola efe balandire balungu abene nshire babepesha iyo nshire bula amashiwe ero nababika mukanwa kabo abene balungu ebalandire teine okweba bakakonkani apo nomba mwamona uko tuwafika lero kanshi nkongole baile kongola bale kongola fi ichi kongole kaloba lunda nakote kukongolo kwa bati mwakongola mwachitana shwenda lama bwino efia mano iyo bena bale chitanga bakongola ngale ama projects nama contracts ya kuma Cadres kanshi kuya vimkukule fia kukula batishani badyemo very selfish badyemo echo baile kongwela. So number one thing ichale ngoko bati to face these economic problems nikaloba ya kubati na plani tamkwete ilyo bale ya muku kongole economists bali bepusha kubati mwe balungu. Okay, you go and borrow billions and billions of kaloba. How are you going to pay back? Maybe it's none of your business. We are going to pay back. Okay, how are you going to pay back? There was no plan. Okay, and then he himself stood up against the IMF. We don't want you at all. We are going to manage. Thinking that China is going to continue giving them kaloba. Now, China is also connected to the West. China and Abasungu, they are working together. So now what has happened? This same government has now gone back to the IMF to beg. Okay, what is known as a rescue package. So a rescue package means mwalikongola sana. Ero nomba IMF didayasa military rescue package. Ero nomba yamiebo kwa bat you need to tighten your belts further. IMF yeberoke na twala miafuilisha. Nomba muku mwafuilisha twala miafuilisha. Mfuremu wa chitashane, mfuremu wa panga a lot of changes, and all these changes that the IMF are going to bring about, they are going to cause more economic issues for the ordinary Zambian. Kaloba. Lack of planning. The other thing is this idea now under the Patriotic Front where they want to change the economic infrastructure of Zambia. Let me give you a story because story. When Zambia got its independence in 1964, both our economy and our politics were liberalized. So we were a liberal economy with a liberal political establishment. That period from 1964 to about 1971 is known as the First Republic. So we were a capitalist-oriented liberal economy and a liberal democracy. That is what we were. We inherited some money. Our kwacha was equivalent to the British pound in the First Republic. Industries were held by multinational corporations. All right? So the mining industry, all these industries were held by the multinationals. But Kaunda received a lot of political pressure. What was this political pressure? He wanted to continue on in power. And so instead of curing what was the issue with the companies, he decided to overreact in anger. Anger is not a plan. It has never been. Ukukalipa te plani yo. Elo nembwa ya mukali. Taikalipa. So Nomba Kaunda then went kuma industries yonse apokolola. Ama mine apokolola. Industries apokolola. Fionse apokolola kwebati. Ninevo nomba ne kaunda. Nine na la kontolola. Palwandi na la kontolola. Fionse fiala bashani. Fiala bafiandi. Ero watu wepa ifo fwebe na Zambia. Kubati mwebe na Zambia. Ifina apokolola nomba na fiena fiaba fieno. In the Second Republic, the problem is when you as a country, politicians, when politicians get involved in business, they begin running business as if it were a political party. You stop making business decisions, you begin making political decisions. So, Indeco, instead of Indeco investing where they're going to make money and help the resources of the country, Indeco started investing where it was politically much more expedient to invest. Therefore, if you have money, then you have a broadened pathways of spending the money. So if Kaunda had 1 million, he had 1 million places to spend money on. You know what would happen? So he would spend all this money in all these companies, chase all the whites and say that he's not interested in them. But what would happen is that he has spent the money, but he wasn't realizing as much as he was spending because he was making decisions not based on business, but on politics. UNIP became the only party in the country. The cadres had more authority over managing directors and board members of all these corporations. The educated had no clout. It did not matter what qualification you had during the Second Republic. What mattered was whether you were faithful to the ruling party or not. And then, of course, he then began what is known as free education. Everybody is talking about free education. Look, you can have free education if you have the money to spend on free education. Where you give free education to a population, when you have no money, it becomes a problem and a burden more than it becomes a blessing. So some people are saying, under Kaunda, we had free education. There is nothing like that. There is nothing for free. Under Kaunda, our economy was broke. Where did he get the money to give you free education? He had to borrow the money. So the economic infrastructure is facing towards government and State House. State House determined everything. ZIMCO, Indeco, Zanaco, everything that ends with a Z or whatever it is, it was all under Kenneth Kaunda. He was appointing board members. He was appointing board chairmen. He was appointing management. Every year, all these boards would write congratulatory messages to the party system. They were members of UNIP. It was a gong show. So he would identify a place to say that that place needed investment, borrow money, take money there, and then try to keep things going. And so he tried it in the 70s. It never worked. By the 80s, Zambia was broke. He had borrowed billions from the markets. He tried to control prices. He said that, no, our economy is being sabotaged by some people. Therefore, we are going to bring price control. It did not work. The industries that you keep talking about to say that, no, we had industries. This is what used to happen. Those industries could not produce enough for the population. And so you had very little production, very huge population, and very little money coming in. And so in order to keep those companies going, you needed to keep borrowing and borrowing more. And even the things that you were producing, they are not enough. That is why there were long lines to buy soap, long lines to buy sugar, long lines to buy cooking oil. Women would go and line up to buy ubunga and sugar in the Second Republic, because the economy was facing towards the State House. State House was the principal player in the economy. The UNIP headquarters along Cairo Road was the principal player. In fact, the party even came to a place where they say, no, it is not enough. Headquarters to go along Cairo Road, yachepa, Freedom House, abati yachepa, bahatampa no kukula, a different UNIP headquarters, where you see the huge white building, Padi Freedom statue, you know, along Independence. That white building, government building, government complex, that was UNIP headquarters. The economy is biting. Ama parasetos vambo kuchita contributing pia ukukula UNIP headquarters idia chidachi building chida. But we couldn't sustain ourselves like that. All right? There was no free education. I'm not a product of free education. I'm a victim of free education. And so, because you don't have enough money from your own economic planning, you couldn't build new schools. So the World Bank came in and lent him some money, gave him some grants. He built some schools, quite all right. But there were fewer schools. And so you create artificial competition. Your country is growing, your population is growing, and then you create artificial competition for education. The so-called slates you are talking about free education, they were extremely few. In Chingola, there were only 3 secondary schools for a population of thousands and thousands of students. There was no investment to invest into new schools. The reason was that the country was broke. Now, because there was free education, all these people, millions and thousands of people, were going to be competing for 3 secondary schools. After these secondary schools, what would happen? There were only 1 or 2 universities for a very long time. And then after they graduate and they get their degrees, they are also not going to be anywhere near the economy. It was the Cadres who were controlling everything. And so, in 1988, Kaunda then entered into an agreement with the IMF, and they gave him some money by IMF. Structural Adjustment Program. Abana Hamboard number. Again, I told you again. Let me say this again. Anger is not a strategy. Ubukali. A strategy, yo. Learn from the Chinese. Ababene tuyako. Mugu Kongola, I'm a Chinese. Learn from the Chinese. Oyebu afya pantu. Tuyafya mugu Kongola Kongola shama Chinese. Tatuika la panshu kutontonkanya ushe ababantu aba charishane. How have they managed to now compete with America? How did they do it? Tabale chitefifia ububukali bwabupuba. Uwakoba tuwabuka fyo bushwa bwacha webere na la fitamfia. Mwefi basungu na mitamfia kabien mwani tumpa. Otumpa kwa ena diembe. Nomba kutontonkanya ngama Chinese. Ukuba steady, ukushipa. Wala babomfia shani. That's the question. Iyo tufiro kuyipushi. Bushaba basungu twala babomfia shani. That is what is needed here. Anyway. So IMF gave him a rescue package, but by then in Shabantu na fifurungana nomba abantu bebere. No, we want change. Ekuleta konomba Chiluba. Edio Chiluba aishire in power. Like any miebe. Na miranga something. Edio Chiluba aishire in power. Some of the people, they say that Chiluba was a reckless privatizer. That is not what Guy Scott is saying in this book. Idi book, idi about Guy Scott. That is not what Guy Scott is saying. Guy Scott is saying that, in fact, Chiluba did not privatize enough. Every Guy Scott Aleland. Chiluba was too cautious. He was too cautious. He should have moved a little faster and a little deeper in terms of private. Every Guy Scott. So what was needed was to reorient economy, yes, from its dependency on Kaunda and Cadres to an economy that is going to be what is known as a liberal economy. Imwe, as a government, you are going to concentrate on setting policies in place. And mwachita liberalize one. Secondly, mwachita attract foreign investors in your economy. The reason why you are attracting foreign investors is so that Imwe, as a government, you are not the ones that are going to borrow money in order to invest in a mine. You are letting others, bambi, eba leisa mukuchitashani, mulebo mfia bambi, eba leisa, eba lea mukukongola, bako watu bachite mine, bachita mine ya kopa, ero nomba mwachita mokati yeno. That's it. That's how you grow. In fact, after 1991, Shulubanomba kuya ku economy, no kuichinja. The economy was facing towards State House. Economy basa ipiribula nomba yambo kulachita face outwards. That is what happened. Now, it was a very painful time. It was painful in the sense that, imagine, all of us that were dependent on the government to supply, to pay for education, to pay for everything. Suddenly, they introduced user fees. Examinations, you had to pay for examination fees. We were the first ones in grade 9 to pay for examination fees. It was a lot of sacrifice. Because they removed all the controls number, amasala diamba gogupaka in stores, ovunga, sugar, maivodide, via paka number. The only thing that remained was iwa wineweka kuwombesha. And our economy started ticking upwards. Then came Mwanawasa. Mwanawasa nomba ekuya kuba sungu. Okuya beba ati mwe basungu. Mwali tuchusha sana. Tamwaba bwino. Nkongolesha mwatuperesha alifurisha. Tuwapapa ata Jubilee campaign. Tuwapapa ata twerere niko 7 billion bakongwere bakaunda. Mutwerereko na bachiruba. Mutwerereko. Tatuwakabwekeshe. Jubilee campaign. 2000 campaign. Abasungu na boteba kani. Bebere tuwala chitashani tuwala mierela. So that you begin on a clean slate. This economy started ticking up. There were challenges, it's true. Every economy has challenges. There were issues with some mining investors, it is true. But the economy started picking up. Our reserves started growing. Our economy, even if it was, we were still underwater, but at least things started shaping up. Until 2011, until 2015 and 2016, when President Lungu came and trashed all the hard work, and instead of building on a liberal economy, President Lungu is now trying to send our economy back to the Second Republic, to where him, as president, he is the chair of the principal government company that is going to be used to start all these companies. It is not because we have no faith in Zambians. It is because we have no faith in politicians. We have seen this before in the Second Republic. Kaunda did it. And that's exactly what Lungu wants to do with Indeco. IDC, as they are calling it. They have now several companies. And you know what? To make all these companies operational, kufwa ya capital. Number, if you are a government, which means the cycle of debt, you're going to continue in that cycle. And now because abasungu bali mierera mu 2000, ero mwabatuka. After ba mierere in Congo, mwabatuka. That cycle is going to take another 100 years before baka mierere. Gama Chinese bena, you can't even talk of debt forgiveness. President Lungu tried to negotiate with the Chinese that mwema Chinese tuberere nikolo. So what did she say? President Xi said no. You are supposed to begin paying in Congolese to remipela. So bafiru wogo deka. Nomba batamba kokula bepeshati batuwese shekwisi batuwese shekunoma balebo mfyobu kadi. Now, how can the people of Zambia agree okwebati where we were in the Second Republic is where we need to go back to. How is that message supposed to resonate to investors or even people abama bonds New York? How are they going to trust you as a country? That is why there is no strength in the Kwacha. There is no strength in the Kwacha. Bantu taparika take washpa. There is inconsistency in what they are trying to do and say. If a mining company wants to invest anywhere, would Zambia be one of the places that they want to go to know? They would rather go to a country Congo. But Zambia should have been at the forefront by now, attracting foreign direct investors. But we are not. Okushipa, wow, me, wokateka, tapadi, zero, tamudi mu state house tamudi. Muiswire fi atiteyine at Niudia, Nibani at Nibadia, the government of Nibadia. That's all. And today some people have the guts. The guts to say, we have to go back to the Kaunda Desert quality free education. My goodness, free education, my foot, free education. Free education, qui? Free education, you buy the Congo la for sure. And so free education during Kaunda. You need to be taxed. Half of your salary if you ever taxed to go back to pay us for ever the period education. Panto you cannot, if you definitely more quite free education, that is the solution to our country's economic problems. That is not going to be the solution. And in fact, Kaunda really played his part. Let the old man rest. If you begin bringing back if you are Second Republic, instead ya go to Kaunda, ale tusha fyobuino, ale umfuwa manone na akota munganda, ya buteko, umfuwino. Mwambo kumupweshamo into the conversations. Bakoba nombanga tuwalanda tiyo mkwai, nishumulera andira against Kaunda. Umukote. It is because the PF is becoming unique. It's becoming Kaunda. It's becoming Second Republic. All the wrong economic choices that happened in the Second Republic, they are being repeated today. Playing on the anger ya abantu. Ati yo ichichuma, ati ififiesu. Nerio fisoso, ati fiesu. Awet. Nerio tamudi prophet, ati yo mkwa ifiesu. You know, what in amayanda ya kuma ikodi rogo nako lire nchue mpala. Pale befi miotoka. Tafienda. But fear, nishi village fifi miotoka. Ati epo fili. Fiesu. You know, that is not a strategy. It's not a plan. What you need is ukushipa. No, nikuisa economy. What can we do? What difficult decisions must we make? No, you know, wambo kusabaira. Ule sabaira kwacha keeps going down. And there are estimates of the kwacha will continue nose diving. And it's nose diving. Bantu takudi leadership. Tamudi mudia, tamudi uteko yo. Takudi. Ukuteka teku moneka fibwino ati wako ku page picture to walepa wino. Yokuteka kushipa. What is happening in the economy? Utuma loopholes mwaka mwasambidila. How did Kaunda Chiluba na babambi to be where we are now? What can we do to tighten wino poko this economic grows? Tekwamba kusabaira no kubepesha abantu. No abashari ko nabo bene mwaba bepeshe ngani cheche na mwari kosa poko bati yo privatization ewalenga nabali ba minister ndachiro abati ni cheche. How can we think that you are a serious government? Nabantu feba yikalire independent observers, how can they think that you are a serious government? Government ishika la panshu kumona. What are we doing? Government that has no fiscal discipline. government ya kwebati nga balefu okuya fe ba printer ba foolish aishin pia bale foolish. And you are telling us that this government has a plan? They have no plans. Absolutely no plan. They invested, IDC invested in a company known as Marco Polo, $48 million. Common sense. Mkwaita tulelanda ati amanwaya tufuire tuwakwate fima degrees nama doctorates. No. Amano fi aya kuchua mpala. Balungu babulide $48 million. Baya bika in a company known as Marco Polo. Ichalo ichishkwe tolu pia. Chafwaya $48 million. Ukuya bika in a company, 2-year-old company, is it 3-year-old company? Elo ba tubepa ati company yali panga profit. Ya panga profit. $48 million baipela as a government to buy shares. Is that a government ire tonton kanyabwino bwino? Wuteko ubulechita think about the future of the country. This is a party that is selfish. This is a party that is looking at its very temporary interests. They're not looking at the interests of the people of Zambia. $48 million into a company that makes tiles. Into a tile making company. Not that Bapela Kwati 1 million. $48 million. Is it $49 million? News Diggers is asking, what led you to invest this much money into a company that was formed 3 years? What causes a government to invest $48 million in a company? Simple. Theft and lack of discipline. Discipline. Indiscipline. You can't grow an economy like that. So now they want to do what is known as control, because kainge ngawa through okuteka nomba kufuaya abaleshtisho otuntemba otuntemba ebo nomba balefo kulanda they are the ones that are causing all this escalation in prices. And they're going to control. Now, government has no capacity to control prices. You know what it will do? It's then going to come up with vigilantes, patriotic front cadres. They're the ones that will be making rounds around the markets to enforce this price. What will happen? It will then mean that people are going to move to the black market. That's exactly what used to happen in the Second Republic. Okushitafye sugar, mwego sugar. Not that sugar tichkulu, sugar kanono. Not tichkulu yo, atiyo mkwaichi sugar ichkulu. No, ka sugar kanono. Very small sugar. Black market. Cooking oil, not that cooking oil, no, ka cooking oil, akanono, ka cooking oil. Shanda chi cooking oil, ichikuru, no. Ka cooking oil, akanono, black market. Ubunga, Pamela, ka pakata, black market. That's exactly how our country got destroyed. No mefe mulera ndatefe ba abana abafiruwa okuteka mwewo. Olesali bapera ko chance. Okobati bateke bafirwa. Epera. So number not on what there is a new UNIP. New UNIP. I have no quarrels with the new UNIP. Absolutely no quarrels. But the issue that I have with is the new UNIP. Yambi okulanda tiyo mkwa ifya in Second Republic. It's true that sometimes abantu balabafye under the hype, you know, in Facebook mutuseka. Sometimes you know abantu vepa Facebook batemu pate twatemu yi batampa kokusupporta. It's okay. But you cannot be lying okwebati the solution to the current economy is to go back to the Second Republic. No. Kuli chipa na mwisho what cheaper is isho bana mayo bale kuka 03 and 04 ukuya mukutanta mina salad nodo kutanta mina koifia manwa kutanta mina salad atiyo mkwai Coca-Cola is just taking our foreign investment twalaletako ama tip top natarino nombe if yesu if wina zambio tip top natarino. And where did it get us to? Very, very poor economy. And today you are saying that we need to go back? No. That you are reviving, you need just revive it. But please stop this lie. Okay, but no, Kaunda's economy dropped because of sanctions. Which sanctions? Well, was Kaunda under any sanctions? Which sanctions? Who imposed sanctions on Kaunda? Who? Kaunda ukupontera koba mwevere imwe muri chave I don't need you mweva sungu. Bantu ubwafe bwako batu muntu ngakota imwe mulalabo ko batali umulumendo at one time. Mwala boko bati kwaliko if you achitire when are you umulumendo? And if you are lengero ko batu bwafye bwingire if you ama decisions are making an ishari umulumendo. Taturera ndatabo mbali bomba no muchinshi tufure twabe nomba imwe ngakutira mwala mwabwesho omulomo no bufi twala londolola tezaurulo ko bati bufi. Kaunda was never under sanctions. Kaunda was making decisions on political expedience. Cadres occupied very high positions, even if they had no education. They became deans, they became vice chancellors, they became engineers. In fact, engineers were reporting to uneducated supervisors. It's Chiluba that in fact professionalized the civil service, where they started saying that you had to have certain qualifications, for example, to hold certain positions. During Kaunda's reign, anybody could be a headmaster, any teacher, as long as you are connected to the party. You could be a headmaster. And Chiluba, Barisa tampoco chinja. You have to have some education. Teacher education, a master's, a bachelor's degree. Professionalization of the civil service. Professionalization of the parastatals also. Under Kaunda, a cleaner can rise from without changing any education. What I'm saying is that under Kaunda, a cleaner can be from a cleaner as a manager tomorrow. Professionalize. Of course, they were tribalists, they were whatever it is, but professionalize. I'm a parastatal companies. My companies have quite key positions, but retire bonse. No, baba pay option to retire so that valeta go a little bit more educated and trained cadre of workers. We need to go back to Second Republic. If you want to go back to the Second Republic, Kapangenika Republican, if we to require coach to build on the successes. Under the Second Republic at Fienu. Under the Second Republic, no, it's not enough for land at Fienu. So dama emaya ndashitisha mai asambusha. Frederick Chiluba was a problem. Asambusha. Every 10 pin, inganda 10 pin, yenu. Giving a new meaning of ownership, liberalization. I'm a basi. Some people even say that Noku Yungfu at UBZ. Chiluba overnight tamed that industry around. Okuyefe kumongo. Not that kumongo. 3-4 days. Kuchpata 4 days on UBZ. Bareta kuna imbi company at Mulungushi, Bakongo at Mulungushi. 4 days or 5 days. Efyo mlefu at Wekereko, where State House is the one determining each and every move at a economic growth. What kind of economic growth is that? Munjere. What kind of economic growth? There is no plan. By youth. Again, there is no plan from this government. Amano na ya pela. ambani nguvati yo new UNIP na ikwata koshani mwebo new UNIP mwalimu hapo any UNIP leader articulating an economic vision. Mwalimu, do you even know who the UNIP president is? How can an organization that has at yo, this is the new UNIP? New UNIP because of a status on Facebook? That's a new UNIP? It is understandable that you are angry, but anger is not a plan. Anger is not a strategy. Ngawutira kuli a political ulelondolola kofi ama economy alelondolola bwino. Why can't you support him? Why can't you support him? Why can't you support him? At we are going to go to UNIP. You are going to go to UNIP? Any economic vision, nothing. At why? No, we are going to create our own that vision. Nipate ya mzangu. Ya kwa wata tukuya fie. Ba yuthi kadieni. Be mi be pa. Imwe. Paka dodi. Inende mi eva vetching. Nde milondo la vetching. Ngabaisa mku mibe paba kwete ko free education. Muka bebe ati mwa kongwele kuise yo free education. Atuletelela. Iyo ine yo free education. Bantu mwaile kongola mwakongola kaunda aliko bwino bantu wale kongola noko shale moneka free education there akamsebo kumirenge tuta bridge mukuku bridge aposa kwa akamsebo kulya nokuna koshanshan at least twale moneka ko nomba ba PF na bakonkani hapo ishashine emisango, but the only difference is baleiba ena bale chitaba kongo ni kongola tuibe baiba ebo afya. So if you go ati mule chitakwa na kalimo tamuishibe bwino fire na muishiba bwino na ma candidates na mumona bwino na abantu abashi baba ko bati balelondolola ko bwino about the economy no kubeshwa na mubeshwa no tukula panga okula panga kona kalimo tamuishibe kona kalimo yo there is no alternative. There is a clear alternative here. Clear alternative epo iri among political a very clear alternative. Omuntu alalondolola bwino alondolola efyo economy fire ya chitanani file panga na sense nombale lwati yo mkuwaita tulefuaya tamulefu nishita mlefuaida okuyoko tamuwa ishiba efya panga sense ati yo mkuwaitwa I can't even understand ati yo tuwalaya ku UNIP because UNIP is new. For goodness sake, UNIP is new kui. The UNIP is new, quiz. UNIP is new, quiz. Your anger is understandable. We understand. I feel your anger. I feel your frustration with the politicians. I'm equally frustrated with politicians. But at the end of the day, unless somebody runs, it's not going to work. Somebody must run. And you must vote for somebody who is running. There is an alternative here. Don't even let you tapari. Anyone? Mleti Poshan. Simzepo mudi? I don't think Simzepo. Any question here? Ati ukufogotola ukufogotola po. Watching from Chuempala, Belem Chilufia. Mweswai. Chuempala yalichinja sana. Malanji is into hospitality business. He has a guest house that has 8 rooms and is never full. Atimuliamu ine muli business yama hotela. Atemo wakwete 1 million to buy a helicopter. For good and of all things, bari temo high life abantu mwe. Ama none. Ukwendera mu nibachenda mundege. You know. So kanjina bachita helicopter. Tabarifwa to be bothered by traffic down there. A level yabo. My helicopters. These are thieves, for goodness sake. Nenso nitabako hata. Ati yo mkwaitu kabeba fiati tulachita business ya mahotela. Back to structural adjustment program, Mwanawasa would be turning in his grave. You know, the lack of the ability to build on ifirechtik. Number to allow work in a more structural adjustment program. Ero naba IMF vini bale tamba because bala tamba sana they know exactly what is happening. They know exactly what is happening. Maureen Bellamy, shops were empty, queuing for sugar, cooking oil, even bread. And then somebody tells me that we have a solution using the Second Republic's model. That we had industries. Which industries? Which industries? Rope. Nifinshare panga rope. Cooking oil. Yareshtishawi. Who was controlling it? Bafirwa kuteka. Empera. Na bafirwa kuteka. Nomba chiya bafirwa kuteka batampo okusabaira kateka okusabaira president okusabaira balesabaira fie tapani plan yo. This cyberbullying it can cause emotional distress. Bantu ngatauleteka bwino. It's emotional distress. So kanchi tabale teka bwino yo. And how can Zambia pay back its debts under HH? It's begin paying, Kaidi. How can it pay back? Kulipira mwe? Ingongole kuchitasha tari kulipira. Kukaka all the other expenses. HHF wala nchire mlandira ko ineyo. I'm not speaking on behalf of Mr. HH. Who am I to speak on behalf of HH? Nachepa. No. What I've heard him say is that akasampuisha. How man inalampa pusha. Nama soldier, which is quite, it's very courageous. Alia bebo kwa batalabane, ganateka, iinde kimwashtira, mwaide kongola, nkasampuisha. Ganasampuisha, katamba, ukuweshe nkongole, efwalanda, teine. Ama soldier bebere, kweno yumuntu mwe, wangu naka response babika ponomba. It's really fascinating because emu inolandire. Koba tinena ngufima choppers fiafineka ondale bomfia. I'm okay. I'm rich, but I'm a very simple man. Efwalanda. I'm an extremely simple man, and I don't need ifyonse mandeke or anything like that. Therefore, if you take okubombera abantu. Nshemlandira koyo. Efunamona efwalanda. Nomba abantu ababena no. Inkongole namukwata ngechalo. Eromwalunda populalunda pofie nendeke new indeke nefifima helicopter. This is not the first helicopter. Mwimonati malanji ine helicopter chapwa. No, nayambi ama helicopters ya reisa. Kanshi every province ikakwata chi helicopter. That will be hired by the PF. Tabakula endera panshi filiati yo mulea panshi ganda campaigning. Ba PF barereta ko campaign yako ba ni campaign ya mwela mweka mwebo. Ema levels yabo. Bantu bai. So indeke. Level yabo. Anastasia Mulenga, just stick to family law, boss. We know that you are a pure UPND cadre. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. The thing is, it's not, if it ain't go economy, you're naike. I never lungu, ever landrat economy na yona, teine. inechondela ndefe chako bati iwe uine lungu weulela ndati economy nayo naika niwe wayo naika waona ola economy uyonene niwe uine wayo nena umlando wakuba tauli state tauli teka bwino yo. Yeah, thank you very much. God bless you and God bless our country. We'll see you sometime. Thank you.